Hey everybody! Well, I decided to go live right now. Every once in a while it's kind of fun to go on a bike ride and just go live. So this is what I'm seeing right now. That's going to be the new STEM building here at SFA. So just got through working out. Ran a mile and jogged a mile, lifted some weights, and it's a nice cool day out here, so I thought I'd just go ahead and finish off a little bit of cardio on a bike ride. So well, I guess the big thing right now that's out and about on the internet is that Sierra, and I think it means, in another language, it means honesty. And I saw how the servers have been kind of hammered, because I guess it's got to be really popular. I think people were able to link it to their Snapchat accounts or something like that, so that seemed to be very popular. I'm not sure how long that server is going to be able to maintain and what their business model is, because pretty much on any application you have, if you don't have a way to advertise and it's a free app and folks aren't willing to subscribe to it, which is pretty much most things, you don't have any money for bandwidth, you don't have money for servers, you don't have money to have programmers. So it's kind of about, you want something that's free, but at the same time, to have something that be scalable up and down, you need to have some type of infrastructure to allow that to happen. So that's always an interesting scene. Mark, the things going on as well. So I remember last year about this time, a little bit earlier, remember Pokemon Go was like exploding. Everybody was like, Pokemon Go this, Pokemon Go that. There's a Pokemon everywhere. And I saw, like right now, I saw people going out when I was on my bike rides after I worked out. I'd see them, folks going out. It was a little bit cooler here in East Texas to find the Pokemon out there. And I'm just thinking, man, how long can this last? You know, it doesn't seem like there's a business model that could, you know, have this thing be sustainable. And of course, you know, I was right as long as most other people as well. You know, something like that's just not sustainable. You can't sustain that forever. I think it was kind of cool seeing families go out and exercise and going out and try to find kind of that augmented reality that is very popular today. But it faded out pretty quickly, I guess, because, you know, people get bored. I mean, on the internet, our attention span, our attention span just isn't very, very long with the internet. And, you know, we want something now, something new. You know, if you think about, I get folks that ask me, well, you know, should I make a YouTube channel? You think I can make money off of it? I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe. And if you do, it won't be forever. If you think about this, how many people on YouTube have you watched more than a year or 2 years or 2 months? And you get bored, you know, not because you don't like the people. Maybe their content's not quite as good, or maybe it's, you just get bored with it. You want to go do something else. That's the beautiful thing about the internet. That's the beautiful thing about YouTube, is there's so much information out there, entertainment, education. There's enough for everybody to go out there and kind of choose what they want to learn about or do. And just like anything, you kind of make a decision on what you want to say and what you want to learn. And it's not because you don't like somebody or get tired of them or something like that. Maybe you do, but it's just that you find something else that's kind of cool, and then you say, oh, okay, I'll watch that for a little bit, and then you'll find something else that's cool. And usually, honestly, for the most part, unless you got a team together, it is very difficult to make high production value content daily. if you got you, I'd say minimum daily, golly, daily's a lot to make some high quality content. I'd say at least a person a day. So if you're doing 7 days of content, you need to at least have 7 people working on the content around the clock. It takes time to shoot, it takes time to edit, it takes time to do titles, it takes time to figure out what you want to do. I mean, are you just going to randomly talk about stuff like I'm doing with this particular video here? You can. I don't know what the production value with that would be. Even if this was like in the studio with the best lighting and best sound, I'm just rambling on talking about things that I just feel like talking about right now. And that's what a vlog is. You've got some interest in the person, they got some interesting things to say, you listen to them. So, I get asked about certain type of bloggers and vloggers and that sort of thing, and I have no idea if something works, but I will say this, it won't last forever. It's kind of like this, if you go into the fine arts expecting some insane paycheck, that happens. Every once in a while you get a Sir Patrick Stewart, that's an incredible actor, and very top of his game, and all the X-Men movies and whatnot like that. But for the most part, if you're an actor or a musician, if you make sort of a living, if you don't have a day job doing something else, that's really successful. I mean, that's really successful. If you're a writer and that's all you do is write, so that many people I know a lot of writers. I don't know very many writers that make a living only on writing. They do something else, they have a day job, they do, I don't know, whatever else. Same thing with whatever your passion is, if you can make a living doing something you really love, that's fantastic. And it's rare. Now, a lot of times you need to be at the right place, the right time, with the right talent, and with the right work ethic as well. I mean, I think all those things are an important part of being able to be successful in whatever field you want to be in, of course. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Today, I would say production value is probably slightly more important, but the phone I got here, that I'm doing a live cast onto YouTube. When I first started YouTube, that didn't exist. I mean, I've talked about this before, but when I wanted to make a video back 10 years ago, 12 years ago, I had a DV camera, videotape, basically, and you pretty much couldn't hardly reuse the tape, because if you did, you got artifacts in it. And so I pretty much bought a new tape every time. Now, fortunately, you got 60 to 90 minutes of that, so that was a lot of video content on there. And if you go back now and try to download them again, get them onto your computer, they usually are ruined. The tape doesn't last that long in some aspects of that. So, okay, so I had to get my DV cam out, get a triporter, go out there and shoot whatever I was shooting. Go home, because I had to go home to a real computer with a FireWire cable, and hooked it up and downloaded it in real time. So if it was an hour-long video, it took an hour to download. Today with SD cards or just your phone, it's almost instantaneous, basically. Then it took it into iMovie. That's what I was using for the most part. Later on, Final Cut Express. Edit it, put a title on it, put a tail on it, put music with it if I wanted to, and there you go. Then bounced it down, rendered it down. I'm using the music term called bouncing. You bounce down a track, render the track down, and then you upload it to, at first I did my own web page, and then later on I did Google videos, and then later on YouTube. And there were times it took 24 hours, 36 hours for that video to go live back with Google Video. That was one reason why I like YouTube, was that it wasn't as well known yet, so stuff would go live almost instantaneous. Now it would take that 480 SD and take it down to 220, 240 or 180 or something like that. Some of the early videos have no resolution at all because they didn't have a bandwidth. They didn't have a business model really to make any money off of YouTube. Later on, with AdSense and things like that, has made it the juggernaut of video internet streaming sites. And so that's it. That's how hard it was 15 years ago, 12 years ago when I started putting videos on the internet. Right now, $100 phone, $20 phone that has any type of video capacity with it, with the right version of the YouTube app, and you got some cellular data, or even if you are Wi-Fi at home, you can stream live straight to YouTube now. So that's a pretty cool, and that's not that long of a period of time if you think about it. I mean, but even back then, 15 years ago, you really couldn't stream films online. That was like too long of content in some aspects of that. And now you get all, Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime and all these other things. Disney's talking about they're going to go make their own video service, and CBS is going to have a new Star Trek series on their video service. So that's it. That's the future. Is no one wants to watch cable. I think most of us have gotten down to like no cable or just the very minimum cable because one, I just don't watch too much cable anymore. Mainly I don't have time. I got too much stuff that I'm actually doing. I go out there and sit there and watch something on cable, and especially most of the TV shows that I would watch, like Star Trek, I can watch on Netflix or Amazon Prime or something. And so I can just choose what I want. Now, I will say this. There's something about this that I always thought was very fascinating and interesting. Even when I had DVDs of a movie, it was too much of a hassle for me to go put the DVD in there. But if it was playing on TV and it came on, I'd think, I'll go ahead and just watch it and then sit through the commercials. So I don't know what that is. I guess, is that laziness or convenience or apathy? I don't know what it is, but many a time I had a DVD of the uncut film, and I watched the TV version on TV because it was just on the TV. I don't know what to say about that, but I find that interesting. And I think in some ways that's kind of the same thing today as well. Is convenience is what we care about when we want to be entertained. Doesn't matter if it's a book, movie, TV show. Recently I had a chance to try a movie theater that actually had dinner. You can order like hamburgers or chicken strips or French fries or whatever and sit back and watch your film. And I thought, man, this is great. This is way better than, I don't eat popcorn anyways, but $80 for popcorn. It was like comparable prices, like $10 or something like that, $12, whatever it was, for a hamburger or chicken strips or something like that. And you kind of sat there and ate your meal and just kind of enjoyed it, And I thought, man, that's pretty cool, And so like the Alamo Draft houses and things like that, which I had not been in one yet, and I still hope one day that Alamo Draft House will compute and show the rise of the robots, because that film would work really well. Well, honestly, any movie theater, that film would work well, of course. But yeah, that was really fun. And so that's a business plan there that, like, yeah, I'm gonna pay a little extra, or maybe not that much extra. It was basically a movie price for the most part, to have a nice reclining chair and some dinner or lunch and watch a movie. You can do the same thing at your house, but that was convenient, and obviously it's a new movie and has better sound and a bigger theater than most people have at their house. So last year this time here, it was full of Pokemon Go people. Back over there was a Pokemon Go site over there, and right now streets are empty. No more Pokemon Go. So that Sierra app, the truth-telling app, or the leave a kind comment or leave a comment about somebody, I would suspect, it might even be 2 weeks, if that, maybe even a week or two, unless they get their servers going up, that will probably play itself out. In some ways, I can see that if you don't have a thick skin, it can be very cruel for people. And you know what? Honestly, in a lot of ways, if you can't say something positive or say something to someone's face, why do you want to do it anonymously? But is it going to really change their life? Nah. People don't usually change their life on things. People are pretty much set in their ways in a lot of ways. As you get older, you might change a little bit because you learn from your mistakes, from your youth. But for the most part, you're pretty much going to be the same person most of your life, unless you have some major epiphany. And happily, there are some folks that have had a major epiphany throughout life. I always enjoy a bike ride. I don't really do it so much for exercise as I do it for just kind of just relaxing. Usually no one calls me up on the phone. Kind of just out here just enjoying what's going on. And, don't worry about my email or anything else. Just go out there and enjoy a nice bike ride. I get a little bit of exercise, but I doubt I'm getting that much cardio or burning that many calories. But, you know, I think right now I kind of got walking speed as my bike speed right now. And if you go for a nice walk, it's got to be better than not walking at all. And again, today was a nice day out, so I'm not going to complain. Beautiful day out here in East Texas. One of these rare days where the humidity and the heat isn't through the roof. So it's about a little bit after 8 o'clock right now, and the sun is still out-ish. I'm still impressed with even more of this little iPhone that I got here. It takes in so much more light than those old cameras that I talked about a few minutes ago. And really, most of those cameras I had very little control over. Most of them I didn't have as when I first got them, manual control on anything. So I pretty much was kind of set with whatever choices the camera made, and it worked out. You could do some things with it, make short films with it, or blogs and things like that. However, with the phones today, and you know, this is like not the top of the line iPhone by any means at all. I'm currently using an iPhone 5S, which was way better than my 4S, and which was better than my 4. That was my first real iPhone, was a 4, and you know, I suspect if I get a 6 or 7 or 8 or whatever down the line, it'd be better than this one in some ways. But a lot of times, Apple, and Apple's not the only one, they discontinue things. Like, you really can't get a computer with FireWire. I don't know why you would want it anyways, unless you want to go back and upload some of your videos from the 2005 area, you know, 10, 15 years ago. But I remember arguing with somebody about USB versus FireWire. I'm thinking, man, you're out of your mind. FireWire is here to stay. That's the future. It's so much more faster. And the guy was saying, nope, USB. And this is back. No, this was almost getting to USB 2. This was like USB 1.1. I said, no, USB 2 is going to come out and it's going to blow it away. It's going to be. I'm thinking that's still slower than FireWire. You know, what are you talking about? This FireWire 800, blah blah blah. And the guy, yeah, he was right. If I ever ran into him again, I said, yeah, you're correct. USB took over. The USB 3, of course, is really fast, and then they got the C out. All the other little USB cables that people use to charge their phones. And I guess that's one big advantage, is that you could actually use your USB to charge up devices. And I guess I really didn't think, well, at that point, no one had cell phones like today. Never thought about that. And of course, the Apple universe was really big into FireWire. iLink was also called that, and had his standard. It was a IEEE, what was it, 1994 or something like that. I used to know it, but it's all right. So that standard for that, and people really like it. Oh, look at this. It's a dime. I made money this trip. All right. Yeah, so anyways, I was wrong about USB, and because like the PC market was really big into USB versus FireWire, and the only thing about it, there's still, to my knowledge, not really any cameras from the tape days that could have used USB to transfer the data. You know, if USB 2 could have been able to do that, USB 1.1 now it's just too slow for that. USB 3 without a doubt, but you know, that was a long time ago. So in some ways they would have done that, but if without FireWire, I don't think a lot of us independent filmmakers that start off with DV cams would have been able to afford to do that. I remember I had a hot rod in my computer at the time. It was a Performa 6400, I think, yeah. And it had a slower processor, and I upgraded the processor to a G3 processor, put in a PCI card for FireWire, and I put a PCI card in there for USB 1.1, yeah. And so at that point there, I had a pretty, well, reasonably fast computer for that point. And it's the last time I booted it up, which has been, I don't know, about a year, I guess, maybe a little bit less than that. It still worked. You know, I look back at the first version of iMovie that I used to edit with, and I'm like, golly, how was I able to do all this? But, you know, when you don't know anything else, that's what you got, that's what you use. And I love the iMovie all the way up to iMovie HD. And then they went to the, basically like the new version of Final Cut Pro Lite, and it got to be really unusable for what I wanted to do. I needed a precision timeline, and the first versions of that iMovie, I was like so excited, thinking, oh, I can't wait to see what the new GarageBand's like, a new iMovie, and I saw the iMovie, and I thought, ugh, this is worse. This is, and what happened was they wanted to make it easier for people that didn't have any skill set of editing movies. So a lot of the stuff was just not where you could control it. It would take little clips of your movies at certain points and montage it into something that's sort of watchable. So that's when I was using Final Cut Express for a while after that. And when the robot film came along, it was time to go on to Premiere. And so I like Premiere, and at some point who knows what other software will come out. I wish there was some more really good open source versions of editing software, because especially on the PC side, because there's not really an iMovie-ish, because they got rid of Windows Movie Maker for whatever reason. I'm not sure why Microsoft did that. And that was always the go-to app I would tell folks to get. And it's hard to download. I guess it's probably still out there somewhere, but it's not at the Microsoft place anymore. And as each new version of Windows comes out, it probably is going to be less useful. Like, I can still barely use iMovie 6 HD, but I got to open it up through the terminal, and I can't use a built-in webcam, so I have to put footage onto it. So, and now the last versions of I don't know, I guess all the way back to like 10.8, you couldn't really put sound in it hardly under it, so it was just, I just would use it for something really fast, and I just kind of gravitated at using Premiere Elements on my slower computers and whatnot. Hey, how you doing? So when the computers I can carry around, I can use Premiere Elements, which doesn't cost that much, and it seems to work pretty good-ish, but you kind of need a little bit of horsepower under the engine. That's one thing I liked about iMovie, that I didn't need as much horsepower to be able to make something usable. So all these technologies come out and about, and who knows what the next video editing software, the next computers can do. I mean, I remember the year 2000. 2000 was the year of the internet. 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 2000 was the year of the internet we were talking about the future of computing, and I thought, well, you know, it's what I was speculated that we were at the infancy of voice recognition. It still was very unusable. I thought, well, when the computers get faster, it's going to be able to do that. Well, I was kind of right and I was kind of wrong. It really wasn't so much the local computers, it was the cloud. So like when you go do a Google search or a Siri search on your phone, it sends your voice up to the cloud and it converts it into that instantaneously, which is pretty amazing. And so it wasn't so much you're carrying around a supercomputer in your pocket, but you have access to that supercomputer. And I think about that with technology as well. I mean, when I first saw the internet, I had no clue that Netflix, streaming services, any song you can think of will be available to you. Any book you want to buy, you can download to some type of tablet looking thing that they had on Star Trek. I mean, I knew the internet was going to be something. I didn't know what it was going to be. I thought, in some ways, I kind of thought it would be really good for educational purposes, for research. But I really wasn't thinking of anything commercial with it. I mean, at that point, when I first saw the internet for the first time, I think you could actually have the whole internet on a really big phone book. Of course, now, if you had every web page out there on a phone book style, I can't even imagine how many volumes that would be, and it would probably be, I don't even know, bigger than Nacogdoches probably, back line to line of that. And that's how fast technology goes by. So, you know, we're in 2017. Even like 10 years from now, 2027 or 2030, it's going to be amazing to see what kind of cell phones we have, what kind of computers we use, the way the internet is. I suspect everything you can think of, for the most part, will be available for you on the internet. Any book you can think of, any periodical, any TV show, movie, song, anything creative, whole lectures, whole college degrees, access to them. There'll probably be folks that have 20 degrees or something like that because they get to stay at home and get all these degrees online, because it's just a matter of time. You're sitting there working at it. And I say that because I know some of these video gamers spend 12 hours a day, more, 20 hours a day, I don't know however long, playing video games. There's some people, folks for education, you had a whole college degrees available for you for free, basically, nominal cost, nothing probably. Might be a subscription service for all I know. So it's interesting to see the speculation of what the future is going to be in the 15, 17 years from now. I will say this, it will be interesting. And right now, if I would have gone back in time, because this is what I kind of did as a kid. When I was 16 years old, I'm doing what I'm doing right now, 30 years ago. And for me to actually have a television show live as I went on a short bike ride, and I had like 2 people watch it live, so which is, thank you for showing up with those 2. And I'll probably have another, I don't know, whatever amount, 50 people watch it streaming other than that, unless this thing goes viral. Anyways, it's pretty amazing that I got a broadcast system in my hand riding on my bicycle. I just could. How could I ever even conceive that as a kid? Couldn't. Back then, it was the Commodore 64 days, Atari 800 XL days. People were still playing the, the mid-'80s. People were, they kind of gravitated towards the Nintendo NES system, but people were still playing the 2600s back then. They still had, you could still buy games for the 2600 by the mid-'80s. So it's just a brand new ball game in so many ways of things that you can do with the internet and with technology and streaming and everything. I mean, think of this. Think of anything you want to buy. For the most part, you can buy online now on Amazon or somewhere. And 2-day shipping, golly, some obscure thing that you couldn't get in your little town, now you can get like 2 days later. Even if you were in like a big city back then, that wasn't always necessarily guaranteed. And it'd be interesting to see how this food thing works out. I could see that grocery stores are just going to go away. You just download the food you want, and it appears at your doorstep a day later, or 2 days later, or whatever. So it's fascinating. Fascinating in a lot of ways. And I'm looking forward to seeing what we can and can't do in the future. And be interesting if I'm still posting YouTube videos. I'm going to guess that YouTube and Google will still be around, but will they be like Yahoo? They're still around in name, but they don't have the same thrust of force they had at one point. Most of y'all probably don't remember how powerful AOL and Yahoo really was at the beginning of the time for the internet. Some of these search engines that we had long before Google came out and just changed the paradigm on searching for things. So it's just, I go back far enough that there's no GUI interfaces. Wired phones, 4 channels that you picked over the air without cable. Actually, you had to go to the movies to watch a movie. I think that's one thing that technology really has helped out. It's a lot of options and a lot of choices of things that you can and can't do. And in a lot of ways, if you're a programmer or an end user, your whole life. I've talked about this before with folks. What would happen if the internet just went down forever? Like, there's no more internet. The internet's gone. Your phone is basically useless at that point. So whatever apps you had on it that doesn't require internet, you could use. It's just so many things be gone. Most of our phone systems would be gone. The way we get our TV is basically internet. It would be a brand new world. Things would probably escalate tremendously in price now because of that. And one analogy is that is with Apple's desktop publishing, is that you get what you see is what you get. Made it where instead of magazines costing $8 a copy back in the 90s, magazines were like $2, $3 or whatever they were, because you could design everything on a computer. And now businesses that come out, they rely, even small businesses that have nothing to do with tech, rely on the internet for them to be able to do what they need to do for paying their bills, paying their employees, getting supplies in. It's all one thing that's really connected together. So if the internet goes down or ceases to exist, it definitely would be a brand new world. It seems like today's newer cars are even kind of reliant on the internet in some aspects. Most of you all can't use a map to plan a trip. And I'm guilty of it too. I just use the phone now to kind of put it into place. But in old days, we took a map out, and sometimes you had to get a map of the city you're going to as well, and to kind of try to find a place. Or we stopped at the gas station and asked for directions, to kind of at least get in a ballpark area of it. All that stuff has changed tremendously because of the internet, because of this technology, the GPS up there that can basically track us within 10 centimeters of your phone or something, and so it's accurate enough to know where we're at when we're going to places and everything. So this technology has just changed everything, has changed the world. And 15 years from now, I'm looking forward to it. I am. I'm very happy we got computers that can do the things that they do today. I still like using the old systems. Like I'm about to go make some music with a Commodore 64 because I like that. I like remember it from the old days. But you know, it's pretty cool to be able to do all those things and enjoy everything we're doing. So that's about the end of my bike ride. What did I talk for 35 minutes? That's probably enough. So as always, rock and roll, and of course it does compute. And if you haven't seen The Rise of the Robots, do yourself a favor, go watch it. www.therobotfilm.com. Of course, it does compute as always, you know. So you guys are awesome. Thanks for the folks that were watching on here today. Because I was bike riding, I couldn't really read it too fast. But here's the famous fire hydrant right here. So that's the end of my journey. So rock and roll, everybody, and it does compute. Yeah.